So ever since I arrived in Bulgaria, there have been people like asking me what the main motivation was to leave Belgium and go to Bulgaria. And I'm gonna sum them up again, but I'm gonna focus on the ones that I think that are the most important, and especially out of personal experience. So one of these things is that I realized that not that only everything is getting more expensive and unaffordable with reason, because you shouldn't be able to own anything, and the certain type of purchase you made should be more controlled than ever. It's about you only having the capability to be able to survive and to function, and that's it. There has to be a cap, a limitation. So the less you can save, the less freedom you have to spend or to purchase what is important or to invest in what matters. That's not allowed. And the only way you can not allow it and by forcing it, is by making sure people at the end of the month have less and less and less money to use for private and personal needs. Not for the essentials, not for taxes, not for repairs, but for whatever you want to invest into the future, whether it's yourself or something. And the less you can do that, the less they have to worry about you making a difference in the world. Now for me also, one of the other points is basically, at some point in time I had to clock in and out into work, and we used to have a badge and I was fine. That was just the moment of entrance, the moment of leaving had to do with the time, but it wasn't really that registered. Afterwards it was the badge and the book. You had to write it down manually and sign it, and you had to clock in. After the badge there came like another type of badge that had to do with personal private registration, so they could do a follow-up online, and they could tell if you were late or you left earlier. And then afterwards there came the scanning from the government, where you had to scan a QR code so they would know your exact geolocation for the time being. And I was allegedly created to go against working in black, or just like working but evading taxes. So I really got tired and fed up with that every day, having to go to work and doing that. For some people it's like, oh, it doesn't mean anything. It does mean something. It has to do with control of your autonomy, of your movement. It's like surveillance. It's almost like you're wearing a body cam 24/7 and it's pointed at you and it gives away your location. And people can say, yeah, but phones do the same thing. That's true, but it's always taken it a step further. You get the 360 cameras, you get the traffic cameras, you get all these cameras, plus the tags, plus this, plus that. So you add all these things up. The last thing is having a camera recording you 24/7 in your house that directly gives a live feed to the government. So that's kind of like, it's that was becoming too much for me, and that's something I don't want to continue living until it gets to the point of what I just said. So that's the second example. Otherwise, also the incapability of being able to own anything, owning a car, owning a house, owning a plot of land, owning animals, or owning your own business. All these things require so much paperwork, so much things you need to bring in order, so much stress and headaches, and so much nonsense that you just don't want to go through it. You just say, okay, forget about it. It's not worth it, not worth the time. And by doing so, you're giving also up on having some type of saying or position in society that can have a positive influence, that can change something about the world. It gives you a certain standing in a healthy way, that you can be your own backup, you can be your own caretaker. You can provide if it needs, when time needs to be, when the time is there. So all these things were kind of going through my mind. The financial aspect, not being able to save, the purchasing and ownership aspect, not being able to own anything of value, of meaning that is an investment, at least not alone, even not as a couple or in investment of parents anymore, is becoming more and more difficulty. Toward the constantly surveillance of your everyday movement, your presence, your physical presence, where you're at, what you're doing, and for how long and why, and what you do with that money. And then control of the money, of course, also, that less and less being able to pay with cash, more and more having to pay with card, but the card becomes a QR code again, everything becomes scanning, and everything just turns into scanning and registration. So it's just binary, just digits and numbers. Everything becomes surreal. It's all just a mental simulation, and you're just living that reality. And I was like, what am I getting in return? Food, for example, fruit and vegetables that just mainly water and has no vitamins of substance, so it doesn't nurture or heal you. Water that has, you know, everything in plastic, every high estrogen level, so it kind of messes up your hormone balance, and definitely as a man. The air completely polluted for many reasons, what they've been doing and the lifestyle we have been living. So you're constantly tired and sick and weak. So all these things, plus if you work so many hours just to be able to afford all these things, you have no time for yourself. So you can't develop spiritually, you can't develop as a person, you can't cultivate, you can't do anything that is essential to human existence. Spiritually, mentally, personality, relationship-wise, family-wise, you can't do all these things because you don't have the time, you don't have the energy, you don't have the money, you don't have anything, but you have to continue living this life. And I got so tired of it, I got so fed up with it, and I was like, you know what, like, F it. You know, I'm gonna look for a place where I can reclaim that, even if it's just a portion, even if it's just enough to be able to do so. And I found a place right here. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of struggling and there are a lot of problems, and it's not as easy as I want it to be, and I never asked it to be easy, but sometimes you want things to be smooth sailing, and if it doesn't go that way, it can be a burden, it can be a little bit of an issue, you can sense it. But the beauty is clean air, clean water, good food, local grown food, a healthy paycheck, being able to save, be able to reinvest, to be able to expand and make something out of yourself. Opportunities I never had. Like I just summed up, all these things are just primal examples why I had to leave, and I felt like I didn't really have a choice. It was either I do that or there is no future. It's not about wanting as a choice, it's about I have to, because if I don't, I'm gonna be stuck. And one of the last things that I can add to that list to make it like 5, right? To make it 5 is basically the requirement to have a QR code to be able to travel back and forth in between countries. And the requirements based on certain things you have to do to fulfill certain criteria to have that liberty, that freedom. So stripping away that freedom of movement and completely keeping you stuck, not only in your country, but in your city, your village, and your street. And that's the final step. That's the prison, you know, the eternal prison, not only mentally, spiritually, but also physically. And now you have full control. It's like a hamster in a cage, you know. And you just add some toys and some decoration, and it creates this illusion that you're not stuck, but you're stuck. So these are like the main reasons why I felt like I had to leave. I didn't really have a choice. And I don't know, for many people, that might be enough to do the same, or for other people, it might be not an excuse to leave because, you know, luxuries and accessibilities and all these things that people take for granted and see as so essential. And in certain ways, certain degrees, yeah, it is if you have certain conditions, health issues, and you are very reliant on these services. And then I can understand that you can't just move, you know, or just leave. But if you're thinking about a future for your children or your grandchildren, then working towards that goal is the last thing. It's like the minimum to me if you really care. Because that type of prison lifestyle, I don't really think anybody should be living that, to be honest. Even though people I disagree with or dislike. But yeah, there are also certain things that come with it. You know, you're fully responsible. You have to be fully self-reliant. You're fully responsible. You have less aid. There are less things, like you don't have the services. Like you're more on your own. You know, you have to deal with those things by yourself, and that's not for everyone. And that kind of can have a severe mental impact. And like I said, I have a personality that can deal with it because I don't really need to socialize. I don't really need to connect. I don't really need anything. I mean, if I just have 1 or 2 people that I can rely on and work together with, then that's good enough for me. And I'm lucky I have that one person, or I would, otherwise it would have gone from bad to worse. And that's why a lot of people quit and leave, even when they try, even if it's just a test or just temporary or just something as a vacation home, they realize that there is a lot of work that has to be put into it, and not everybody wants or can or not or can't complete it. And for me, I put like I had like this trajectory, you know, and it's a little bit different now because some things happen. But for me, my plan is a 2-year plan to get where I want to be, and then everything beyond that is just up to me. Then I can decide what I want to do or not want to do. And I just wanted to make this video as an example, just to share my thoughts and my experiences. Like, okay, these are the biggest motivators why I had to leave, because it's always a matter of time before those walls close in, and when it happens, then there is no option. You don't have the liberty to leave anymore. And yeah, you can say so, maybe it's a bit fear-driven, but do you really want to take that risk? Do you want to wait until the gate closes and you can't leave anymore? I didn't want to take that risk. I'd rather be stranded here, you know, and be happy in my own way, even if it's, you know, maybe there are certain things I don't have, and that's true, and that sucks, because I know at some point I'm going to run out of the essentials I need that you don't have here, and then I'll have to find a way to get it anyways, hopefully online. But that's the thing, even that is a minimum. That type of luxury to order things online is also it's very minimum. So these things you just learn to deal with and learn to find alternatives that work for you. It's not impossible, but it's quite a challenge, and it's like challenging yourself to look beyond what you're used to, look beyond how you used to deal with it, and not see it as a burden, but seeing it as a challenge. And that's what my life has become since I've started here. You know, starting from zero money, no job, no safety net. There are still certain things I need to put in order as well if it comes to the you know, damn insurance through my company, like what I'm gonna start working for. But the point is, like, no money, no job, no girlfriend, no family. There is nobody here. You're just by yourself. You just have a rundown property that you have to take care of and build yourself up again and make the best out of life and create a future that you want to see. Create a future that is a future, and that's what it is.